what a start. What a start to Monday afternoon show here. We'll get into all that. But, Hoop, your boy here, Run Pure Sports. We're talking MLB today, the MLB Swing for the Fences show, joined by my boys Title and Big T. Before we hopped on the show, Title informed us that there was a massive trade in the NBA that just took place. Big T and myself couldn't really believe the names involved. I mean, breaking news from Title. Title, tell the people what just happened in the NBA.
Well, first of all, I didn't say massive. I said big trade because
it was pretty close to massive.
No, you said massive. I said big trade. No, and I didn't break it. Fantasy Labs popped up. I mean, these are three: Steven Adams, Eric Bledsoe, number 10, number 40, and a 2022 first-round pick. That's the Grizzlies. That's what the Grizzlies got from the Pelicans. And then the Pelicans got Joval, number 17, and number 51. Those are three guys that, I mean, for DFS wise, we play them. We talk about them on a daily basis. A lot of picks transitioned. I mean, in summer, anytime I see an NBA trade and some names like that, that's some big news. I didn't say massive. It's not Curry or LeBron or any of that. I don't know what you were expecting, but there's some names that matter.
Three dusty ass dudes, and they literally traded the same picks too. It's weird. It's not even a standout picks or anything.
Joval is not dusty. I wouldn't say he's dusty. Bledsoe's dusty. Joval
is he going to change a team from being good from bad to good or something along those lines?
He's an upgrade. I mean, Zion, Lonzo. I think the Pelicans are going to be all right. New coach.
Are you still drunk from the Bucks trade?
Stop it. I mean, I'm still celebrating, but I said big. I think it definitely changes.
You were selling it way harder than big. You had at least 6 to 11:30.
Yeah.
Stop. I said big trade in the NBA. That's all I said.
Whew.
Tony, what's your analysis of the trade?
I mean, I am more in awe of how excited Title was about the two. So it was Big Stiff for Big Stiff, and then Bledsoe in for a little dessert. I mean, Bledsoe's awful.
He's not a dessert. He hurts any team he goes to. That's for sure.
So he's terrible. So it's basically a Big Stiff for a Big Stiff.
I mean, I think Joval's a little better than a Big Stiff. Anytime for DFS, that definitely is going to matter too. I played Bledsoe way more than I should have played him last year. Hopefully, I mean, Grizzlies run a big rotation. I don't think I'll need to play him anymore. Picks, number 10, 22 first round. Hey, you don't see these trades all the time in summer for NBA. I love the NBA. I mean, I was excited about it.
We love the NBA too, but
I was the only one excited, I guess.
Hey, I will join you in the fact that I did play Bledsoe way more than I should have last year in NBA DFS because
I played him 0 times, so I can feel good about that.
Yeah, that would have been the smart.
You guys love that 4,600 Bledsoe
on FanDuel.
He got you guys a little movement.
He did have that, and you throw in he had a couple probably 50 fantasy point games to get you.
He had a 50? No way.
No, it was 35.
It probably felt like 50.
Yeah.
24.
Oh yeah, it was
35.
20, and I was peeling to the 20 piece that he gave me. But no, he had a couple massive. Maybe there were some injuries and stuff, but he had some massive fantasy.
Yeah, he might have gone off in those games when it was literally the skeleton crew in there.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, not a big trade, just a bunch of dusty dudes.
Glock said he's excited too. He likes seeing the NBA stuff pop up. I got to back up.
I mean, the NBA offseason, it's more just about this is the first move in the NBA offseason, so people are excited.
Okay, perfect. That's what I was trying to say.
I wasn't too excited.
Yeah, Big T's not. He just woke up, it seems. He's not excited.
I did take a good nap this afternoon, but
you're back on the nap schedule?
Back on. I was never not on.
I took one too.
There was a period where you were not taking the naps.
I mean, maybe during the busiest point of the 2 seasons, but
yeah. Well, now that we
definitely back on the nap schedule now, though. Yeah.
I can't do the naps. I was whenever I try to do the naps, I just can't shut it down. I really can't do it.
I love my naps. I'm with Big T.
Lay down and just get her done.
Well,
we only have nap anyways when you're asleep by 10:30 each. I wouldn't nap either if I was asleep by 10.
Yeah, and that's the ongoing joke, but I can't go to sleep at night now either. I don't know if it's it's like I'm up till 1 and I'm up at, go to bed at 1, up at 7 and no nap. So I'm just constantly tired. I'm, taking after
Mangone. Tough. You definitely got to get a nap in there when you're in there.
I just can't do it. So I'm on the Red Bulls with Mangone. Hopefully I don't have a heart attack and almost die like he did in Tony's backyard.
I went to I restocked the whole fridge downstairs in the basement. You guys have been to my house, and I was like cleaning out all the old shit that shouldn't have been in there. And he left 2 ginormous freaking 20, what are those things called? Red Bulls.
Red Bulls, yeah.
Good God. I mean, Mangone, your heart's going to stop. Those things are like full gallon jugs of, and there's no one else that would have bought it but Mangone, because no one can drink that much Red Bull.
Oh, I know. Actually, I know the story behind that, how those got there.
Didn't Uncle T buy him for him?
Yeah. Mangone said Uncle T was on his way and said, Mangone, do you need anything? And Mangone's like, yeah, give me some Red Bulls. And Uncle T found like the gallon jugs of Red Bulls to take over. So, they must have gotten hidden, because if Mangone knew those things were there, he would have sucked those things down.
They were hidden. It was kind of back in the back porch with all the old dusty beverages. And now, I mean, I think I got rid of it. I don't know if it's still in there.
Yeah, Uncle T did just confirm in the chat those Red Bulls were purchased by him. So
they couldn't have been cheap.
G Ryzen said you didn't find any Modelo's on there, and I don't think
the funny part is I did find one Modelo, I think, too, in there.
You better not say, man. G Ryzen might be back to your place this weekend if you tell him you got Modelo's in there.
I should have.
He's gonna want to finish off that job. All right, so what do we got? Seven games tonight. Let's see. 7 games, some really good offenses, some decent pitching, actually. It's not a bad slate. I kind of like these smaller ones. And, I know Big T, you do as well. I mean, 6, 7, 8, 9 games, always kind of like a sweet spot, I feel. You can really, get in there and analyze it and get on the squads that you want to be on and take some stands. So we'll go through, we'll do it all. Before we get into that, we still have that promo going, RPS Heater 25. If you're not a member already, you can head on over to runpuresports.com and use that promo code to get 25% off your first payment on a monthly package at Run Pure Sports. So head on over, check us out. As I always say, it's all sports included. And, I do like to reiterate the same thing over and over, but football's like a month and a half away, 6 weeks away, whatever it is. I know a lot of people on Twitter keep posting the countdowns. Who cares? But it's like 6 weeks away, and all these other sites, they're going to charge people $300, $350, $400 for NFL season. Not here at Run Pure Sports. One price, every single sport, access to everything on the website. So I really think that's one of the best things that we have going. Our NFL content is going to be pretty similar to what it was last season, but it's going to be improved. We're, going through the process of making the changes and making sure that it's not only the best content in the industry, but, the easiest to comprehend and easiest to apply to your lineup. So head on over, check us out, RPS Heater 25. I don't know, anything else really before we get into it? Tony, Big T, you got anything?
Oh, we're just amping up for football and for other stuff. I mean, it's definitely one of the slower times of the year for us. It's weird for me too, because everyone knows I like to get in there and grind each day and do this stuff, and it just feels like it's one of those periods where there's just not much going on. So I feel like I just feel like it's, I don't know. I'm ready for football. I'm ready to get back to the grind a little bit.
Yeah, slower time. I will say, DraftKings, I haven't seen if FanDuel did the same, but they rolled out a nice slate for the Olympic golf. So we're going to have our normal golf content all week long. We'll have the show tomorrow night with me, AP, and hopefully Uncle T. I don't know. Is the Olympics considered a major? Because if it is, Uncle T will be out and Snyder will be in. So we'll see. It's definitely me and AP. Uncle T, still a question mark next to his name, but we'll have the full playbook, core plays, cash chart, tiers, everything for the PGA slate this week.
How many guys are in this field with all these dudes dropping out? Did they all get a replacement, obviously?
Yeah, most of them did. I think it's still right around 60. I don't know. It's going to be within a couple of 60, but no cut event, 4 rounds. So
everybody plays the same amount of rounds too? It's just like a normal?
Yeah, it's like a normal no cut event, basically. 4
God,
rounds.
I hate no cut events is the only shitty part.
They all start on the first tee and go, so it's not like split tees or anything.
It's just normal. Whoever's got a chance to win the gold basically towards the back on Sunday, just like normal.
Yep. Totally normal, like PGA event for the most part. PGA no
was
cut
hoping
event.
I was hoping it was somehow different. I couldn't remember the structure. I was hoping like somehow it was more of like a match play type thing, but obviously.
Well, I mean, I doubt will be. I don't know what the TV schedule is going to look like, but it could be sweet if they're covering it somewhat live because it starts at 6:30 Eastern time Wednesday
You would
night.
think you'd be able to watch it live for sure. I mean, there's like freaking. I'm not big on the Olympics, but there's like 73 different channels where you don't know what's live, you don't know what's taped, you don't know but it has to be on somewhere.
Yeah. So it's 6:30 Eastern. Wednesday evening essentially is when they tee off. So could have some primetime golf depending on the coverage, but we should be able to find it somewhere, like you said. All right, let's get into the slate. And what are we doing today? We going to do positions, or are we going to stick with what we did the other day and go game by game?
Title wasn't on that show. He gets upset when we get off that position by position.
No, I don't care. You guys, someone in chat said position by position, so I said that. But then the next 10 people said game by game. So I don't know what people want. Whatever you guys do, it doesn't matter to me.
It is a really touchy subject to me. I mean, the people are passionate about what they like what their preferences. It's not like, oh, I don't care. Do whatever. I'm just happy to hear the boys talking MLB. They know what they want. They either are huge for position by position or huge for game by game. Either way, we're going to talk about pitchers first. So,
what did our boy Lakers do from that 888? I see him in the chat. Did you cash Lakers? What was that, Thursday? When did we give it to him? We gave him a ticket on Thursday. Did you get it? He brought good mojo. What was the final result, Lakers? Did you get it done? I can't remember.
Yeah, let us know how you finished up with that 888 ticket.
Look at the chat too. Position, game, position. Yeah. I don't know what people want.
I'm telling you, the country's so divided, on political lines. People here, people there. I swear, our viewers, it's damn near close to 50-50 in terms of game by game, position by position. We're going to talk pitchers first.
Get it. So the dude in the chat says, we already do stacks positions better. I don't understand why you ever use positions, though, and I get annoyed by the QQs. I get it in cash. That's the only answer that works for me, cash games. Because in tournaments, it should never come down to position by position because you're stacking or else you're doing it wrong.
The only time you're looking at positions in tournaments, it should be when you're putting a one-off in or something. When you're just looking for a high upside guy, which should not be on a ton of occasions, you should definitely be looking to stack. And that's the point I always make with the game by game. When you're building your teams for GPPs, that's how your mind should be thinking. Games, stacks, teams, not positions. And honestly, so many guys have multiple positions where it doesn't freaking matter what position they play for the most part. You got guys that can play, some infield positions and outfield. On FanDuel, they have some dudes that have 3 positions. Positions don't freak. We're going game by game. So
I was going to say, sounds like we already have our answer.
Yeah, it's predetermined. I mean, I don't even know why I threw it up, especially on the smaller slates. It's
doesn't matter to me.
All right, let's get into the pitching. I mean, there's not a ton of pitching. Depending on what site you're playing on, I think the position is much easier on DK opposed to FanDuel. We're going to primarily talk about DraftKings pricing, but we'll throw in some FanDuel stuff too. The top pitcher on the board on DraftKings is Luis Garcia at 10.4. Kyle Hendricks, for some reason, is 9.7K. I cannot imagine paying that price tag. Ohtani checks in at 9.2, and then this is the biggest discrepancy between DK and FanDuel. He's 9.2 on DK, the third most expensive pitcher. On FanDuel, he's 11K and the most expensive pitcher. On DK, really hard to avoid him at 9.2. I mean, coming off a very solid start, 9.2 price tag is great. The matchup is absolutely phenomenal. You get the Rockies outside of Coors Field. That 9.2 price tag, very tough to avoid. Pivetta 8.7 in a tough matchup against Toronto. Can't really go there. Wade Miley can't go there. Marquez is the next guy that's kind of interesting to me at 8.4. Solid pitcher. Really like both pitchers in this game. I don't hate playing both of them. Then to round out the 8K and above, you have Mike Minor at 9.3K. What did he do last time? Went out 6 innings, 5 strikeouts. So he's kind of popping on some of these sites. So we'll go to you first, Big T. Talk to me about this upper tier 8K and above.
Yeah, it looks pretty interesting up here. I mean, you got some pitchers that I don't normally love, all in like good, really good spots up here. I mean, Garcia, we love playing pitchers against Seattle. He crushed again the other day too. He's one of these guys that I've kind of been waiting to fall off the grid a little bit all year, but eventually we get to the part of the season where you just almost have to get on board. It's a big enough sample to where maybe it's not going to go the other direction and he's just decent. I mean, Houston always finds a way to get the most out of these pitchers. So I think he's in a really good spot. He would definitely be my top guy. Ohtani's interesting. I just the spot looks good. He's going to be the highest owned. I just have never trusted him all that much on the pitcher side. He just always, when he gets wild and can't find the strike zone, he can really throw stinkers in there. And in tournaments, if a guy's going to be 50% owned, which he definitely is tonight, I think there's some advantage to getting off that and just hoping you get a wild Ohtani night where he doesn't do that good. You could even throw a Rockies guy or a couple guys in there for leverage where I don't think I almost, as the tournament side of me, I'd almost be more willing to play him on FanDuel where the pricing is always super light with the hitters, and he'll be lower owned on FanDuel just because of how crazy the price is up at 11K. So that's just how my tournament mind works, where it sticks out a little bit more on FanDuel. But I still don't love the spot with as wild as he can get coming off a gym too, where what he went for 27 against Oakland. So crushed, but I don't love it. And then after that, I mean, some of Hendricks' numbers against the Reds look terrible. I mean, I don't like him anyways, but some of these guys have seen him really well. I mean, even Aquino's 2 for 2 with 2 bombs off him. Suarez has a couple bombs. Votto's got 3 bombs. Votto's 12 for 33 with 3 bombs. Winker's got a bomb. I mean, they have hit him. I wasn't going to play him anyways, but one thing to kind of look at for the Reds when we get to hitters. Minor, I'm not going to play Minor, I don't think, versus the White Sox. So for me, I think it's just Luis Garcia at the top and a little bit of Ohtani, I guess, in this top range.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point to bring up about Ohtani. He's clearly going to be the most popular in DraftKings. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, there's not a ton of guys to consider. His price tag sticks out like a sore thumb. Everyone's going to see it 9.2, substantially lower than Luis Garcia. I mean, the $1,200 difference. I mean, highest owned like by far. So it's interesting for sure. Title. Give me your thoughts on this 8K and above tier.
Yeah, Big T makes a lot of good points about Ohtani, but this is the difference. He's GPP thinking I'm more cash. I mean, this Colorado lineup is just so bad. There's a lot of strikeouts in there. Ohtani has the highest strikeout prop on the slate. If you're doing tournaments, this is another spot. You can play Ohtani in some, and then you can play a really low-owned Colorado stack because Ohtani's one of the pitchers. If he's off, he's really off, and he's going to walk a ton of batters. But Ohtani's my top guy. I like Luis Garcia too, but Ohtani's a $1,200 price difference too. So he's going to be the most popular. I'm going to play him though. Matchup's too good. And if he's on, he's going to be on and pitch a really good game. So he's my favorite pitcher. I like Luis Garcia at 10-4. I don't mind if you go up top and pair the two. There are a lot of cheap bats like there always are that we'll get to. So I think that's very viable. I also like German Marquez, like you said, who I think you can. I mean, people don't always like pitching 2 guys in the same game because they both can't get a win or whatever the reason may be. But I think that's a very good route, and actually my favorite route to go in tournaments. This Angels lineup isn't very good either, especially the bottom of the order is very bad. German Marquez has been good this year. I think he's a pretty solid pitcher. Somehow he pitches better at home than he has on the road. I think that might be more of a sample size issue. I mean, Coors is a very tough place to pitch in. Get a better pitcher's park. I think German Marquez is in a very good spot. So Ohtani and Marquez are my favorite 2 to pair in tournaments. I'm not going to play Kyle Hendricks at 9.7. That is way too much. I'd rather just go up to Luis Garcia. And then Mike Minor, like you mentioned, he is popping on some sites. He's 8.3. I just don't really get it. Like, I don't know if I'll go there. I was hoping Big T was going to talk about it a little more. I just don't like picking on the White Sox with lefties. The White Sox always crush lefties. White Sox have a 5 implied total. It's more of on FanDuel, he's even cheaper. I mean, when they price up Luis Garcia at 11K, Otani at 11K, Garcia at 10K. Mike Minor's only 7.6K. And that's very big savings. And there's going to be some bats we do want to pay for. So I still don't know what I'm going to do on Mike Minor. I think he's a solid real life pitcher. His K prop's okay. The price stands out a little bit, but I don't like picking on the White Sox with lefties. So I like Marquez over Minor on DraftKings, and he might even come in lower owned too. So Otani is a clear SP1. Marquez in tournaments, I like the pairing, and then I'll get some Luis Garcia and pair the top two.
Yeah. Got 530 watching, 140 likes. Do us that favor. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps us to not only bring you these shows for free, but to also keep Big T on the free shows. And we threatened you guys last week. If we didn't get the likes, Big T's going back to premium. Well, you guys did a good job with the likes because look, Big T's here Monday afternoon with us, not on the premium show. So continue to pound the like, hit the subscription, and Big T will stay here and the shows will stay here. Big T, talk to me about Marquez in a little more detail, and then touch on Minor, and then any cheaper guys that you have interest in tonight.
Yeah, Marquez is one of the plays we talk about a lot on this show, where everyone's on Otani, the most popular pitcher of the slate by a mile, I think, on DraftKings at least, like you guys said. And he's only like a minus 140, everybody would consider the Angels a better team than the Rockies, I think. Everybody loves Otani. He's going to be the most popular. But then you look at the line, this is kind of the argument, not to go down a completely different avenue, but like with these odds, I think people in MMA use too much on the finish odds when it's not that much different. And so Otani's minus 140, 150. Marquez is going to be the flip side, plus 120, plus 130. That's just not that far different in a one-game sample, where I think Marquez is – and it's at the Angels too, which is going to get a little baked in number to the Angels. So it's almost like a coin flip type game in a way, where Otani's going to be higher owned than Marquez. I think Marquez is a better pitcher even. And I like Marquez a ton. And he's crushed all year. And like Title said, the Angels lineup is nothing to fear whatsoever. So, yeah, I love Marquez on this slate. And there's not a ton of pitching tonight, which is another reason everyone's going to jam Otani. So if I did play Otani, I have no problem whatsoever running Marquez with him and just hoping this game is low scoring. And it probably will be low scoring. Neither team is a great offense. The park is a little bit better than these West Coast parks, but it's still not some incredible park for hitting. It's just also you got hitters like Otani that skew the numbers a little bit because the dude is so good. You got power guys, so he can hit bombs anywhere. But I love Marquez. Cheaper pitchers, I mean, man, it's ugly tonight. What
about Minor? Before I interrupt you, what about Minor at 8-3? What are your?
I don't think I can play Minor. I would even jam Otani before Minor. I mean, I pull up his stuff when you were talking about the pitchers. I was trying to sell myself on him just because. The range, Marquez was 84, he was 83. And I look at him, and I mean, last game he pitched pretty good. He still only went 78 pitches. I mean, even the games where he's rolling along, he goes 90. I just don't. Against the White Sox, I'm like you. I like some of these hitters against lefties. I'm just not going to do it. I don't play enough teams in baseball. I play 3-4 teams every day. I just can't get to them. I would rather just play Otani even though I sold against Otani. Yeah. And if you look at the ownerships around the industry, I mean, Minor's projected to be like 30% tonight just because there's not really nowhere to go at pitcher. There's so many bad pitchers on this slate that if he's going to be anywhere near 30%, I'm just not playing him. And it's really not even a hard decision for me. As you look in the cheaper range too, man, it is. I mean, Spencer Howard against a Washington team we don't really ever want to pick on. So I just don't want to go there. I don't even know who this freaking Hats dude is for Toronto. I'm not playing him. The only guy I could make a case for is Matt Manning. I don't love him. He's 5,800. He just had his best start probably of the season. I don't know. Maybe he had a better start in there somewhere, but he looked good last start. He's still 5,800. And the key is he's getting this Minnesota team that, God, for one, they're going to be popular because they always are in this spot. And they just have sucked this entire season. And now they're trading guys away too on top of it. The worst part is with Minnesota too is we're not going into the offense completely, but man, I look at their lineup and I always like it. Like it always looks good to me. And they just never, ever, ever
all
get
they
there.
do is freaking Kepler, Polanco. It's all the guys I love playing. Like
And they
Mitch Garver,
never get there for us.
and they never get there. Like never get there. And like Larnock and it's just all the guys.
Lineup. I even like damn Cave down there. All my
love
boys.
this lineup, like 1 through 8, like I have interest in. Just so tempting, but you know what's going to happen. They're going to score like 2 runs tonight because they do it every.
And they're in quit mode on top of it. Like they're not in a position where they're even excited to play at all.
Yeah. A guy that's semi popping on some sites, Michael Pineda. I can't imagine clicking that price tag or that name. I think some people do play him tonight. I can't do it. Title, any interest in a guy like Pineda or anyone else on this cheaper range?
Yeah, I was going to get to that because he is getting some ownership. Give me Detroit as a stack against Pineda. I mean, Detroit's rolling too. I think Pineda, I mean, with his fastball sitting at 90 miles an hour right now. He had an okay start last time out. So there's no need to do that for me. So I'm stacking against him. I'm not going to play him. I think these cheaper guys just aren't good. I'm going to stick to Ohtani, Marquez, Luis Garcia, and then maybe Mike Minor, but it's either 3 or 4 pitching pool for me. So I hope people play Pineda because he is popping. And I mean, we talk about it every time we're on here, but Detroit, they're decent. I mean, but Dude's good. They got Haas. They got a couple bats there. So I'm not going to touch
the lineup that rolled out tonight. I definitely have some interest in the Tigers, even more so because I think people are on Pineda. Overall, for me, though, at the pitcher position, very tight core tonight. Sometimes we say spread it out and get exposure to different guys because they're all similar. To me, that's not the case. I'm not really going to take a chance at pitcher. I'll get different with my bats, probably 3 or 4 at the most that I'm probably going to play. And I don't even feel good about that. I mean, it's tough sledding. So 3 or 4 for me, tight core, title, final thoughts at pitcher.
Yep, same as you. Tight core. Otani's 1. I like Marquez as the pairing at 2. Then I'll get some Luis Garcia and Ohtani as well. Mike Minor, I'm still debating what to do about him, but sounds like not too many people are on him. So very tight core though. No need to go lower than that. We have cheap bats.
Before we get Big T's final thoughts at the pitcher position, his Uncle T, just sent me a text, and apparently he wanted everyone to know this. Just posted the playbook. So if you were wondering, Uncle T just posted the playbook. So head on over to Run Pure Sports and check out Uncle T's playbook that was just posted. Big T, final thoughts here at pitcher.
So one of the best things about the site, Run Pure, is the Discord, and we got tons of sharp people in there, all the coordinators, obviously, but tons of sharp members too. And all day today, they've kind of been talking about this Matt Manning stuff where I guess he changed his curveball or whatever. I'm not going to get into all the baseball talk. It's not my strength. But supposedly he changed something a couple games ago and things have gone a lot better for him. Hard contact way down. Little stuff like that, little tidbits. I'm a field player for sure. And if I think something's changed like that, I love the matchup versus Minnesota. I think Minnesota's going to get offense. There's a lot of check marks in that Matt Manning column for me in tournaments because of the price tag, and I don't love pitching at the top all that much. So I just thought I'd throw that out. I think I have a lot more interest in him, and I like him way more than Pineda at 69 for 1,100 discount. So for me, I like the same 3 guys up top as you, and then Matt Manning.
All right, let's head on over and like I said, we're gonna go game by game. Smaller slates, it definitely makes more sense. We can get into it a little bit more opposed to just talking about 3 or 4 guys at each position. We'll kind of cover everyone and all the offenses. So we're gonna go game by game, and honestly, it's more beneficial to you guys. I know some of you guys like position by position. The way your mind should be working is game by game. Before we get into that though, we have a partnership with Best Ball. If you're into the Best Ball stuff, you head on over to Underdog, use promo code RUNPURE, get $25 for free on your first deposit. So head on over to Underdog, use that promo code RUNPURE, $25 deposit bonus on your first deposit. All right, first game on the slate, we have the Nationals, we have the Phillies, 9.5 total here. Joe Ross versus Spencer Howard. Team total for the Phillies right around 5. Team total for the Nationals right around 4.5. And honestly, you know, there's some pretty solid offenses on these slates going. I have a feeling these ones might be somewhat lower owned than I think they should be. You know, two mediocre pitchers they're not mediocre pitchers, two shitty pitchers going on the National side. The easier team to stack with Soto, Bell, Trey Turner. I think they're all in phenomenal spots. You know, the price tags on DK are up quite a bit. I mean, Trey Turner, you're paying 6.1 for. Juan Soto, you're paying 6.3. Big boy price tag. They finally got Josh Bell up to 4.2. If you plan on paying up at both your pitcher spots, probably this team might be out of reach for you if you're, you know, going the route that Big T was kind of talking about before, where you might take a chance on a guy like Matt Manning. This is a spot to go because the increased price tag should keep the ownership in check. On the Phillies side, like I said, their team total is coming in at 5. Again, they did a good job with the pricing here. They got these guys up there. Bryce Harper, 5.9. Real Muto, 5.1. My boy Reese Hoskins, who was the 4X play of the day last, I believe it was Thursday, and hit a bomb right out of the gate for us. He's checking in at 4.9. The price tags in this game are actually elevated now that you look a little closer. So it would be hard to stack these guys if you're planning on paying up at pitcher. Go to you first, Big T. Give me your thoughts here on this Nationals-Phillies game.
Yeah, you said it best, I think, where the pricing is just outrageous for these guys. I mean, the three best guys in the game, in my opinion, Harper, well, the four even with Real Muto, but Harper, Turner, Soto, all priced at 6K range. I mean, that's a big tag for hitters. And for whatever, this total looks a little light to me but we don't love both pitchers, but it feels like when I clicked on it, it would be like almost like an 11 total because of these pitchers with these offenses. And to see only 9.5, it gives me a little pause for concern that maybe this game goes a little lower scoring than people would think. And I don't know. Besides, you look at Washington's lineup, and they treated us really good in that Padres series and even a little of the series after. They cooled off a little this weekend, and their lineup, outside of Turner, Soto, Bell, looks pretty dusty. I'm going to be honest. Like, it looks pretty bad. So I don't know. With the price tags the way they are, it almost just gives me an easy excuse just to not play them. I mean, Turner at 61, Soto at 63. That's a big tag. You need big time production for that kind of price tag. So they're pretty easy fade for me. Philadelphia has hit Joe Ross pretty good in the past. I like their lineup overall better than Washington's, and it makes sense because it's a little deeper. I mean, even Odubel in the 8-hole, Didi in the 6, Hoskins in the 5. Just a way better lineup overall than Washington. Sure, Soto and Turner, even Bell are elite, but this lineup for Philly is deep, really 1 through 8. Even Torres, or however you pronounce his name, he's been pretty good. I mean, for a guy at the bottom of the lineup, he's hit a bomb here and there. He's been decent along the way. So definitely Philly for me over Washington, but there's some good spots on this slate, like you guys said. I might end up lower on this game than other people just because of the price tags. Nothing sticks out to me as some incredible value here.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I will say, though, I think a lot of people will have that similar mindset. So I could see these offenses coming in at pretty low numbers tonight. I mean, more people are gonna, if they're paying up, they're gonna go to Toronto, they're gonna go to Boston, they're gonna go to probably Minnesota as well. So I don't know. I think we could see these teams coming relatively low. Title thoughts here on this Washington and Philadelphia game.
Yeah, I agree with Big T. I thought this was going to be a higher total too. And anytime I expect a higher total and it's lower than I thought, I mean, my head goes as Vegas knows something that I don't know. So the guy, I mean, like Soto, 6.3K, Turner, 6.1K. I'd rather go, the next game, Boston, Toronto's a really good game. Toronto's expensive. I'd rather just play Vlad and those guys that are expensive. So what sticks out, if I am going to go Washington, 4 through 7, Josh Bell's 4.2K. I don't think Spencer Howard's good. So 4.2K Josh Bell, I do like that price tag. 3.7K for Josh Harrison. Gerardo Parra's min price at 2K. If you're going to go Luis Garcia and Ohtani, there's some cheaper Washington bats. I don't think the middle to the bottom of the order is going to get ownership. And then Tres Barrera, the catcher, at 2.4K. we always talk about catcher. You can always pretty much go and full punt it. I think that 4 through 7 for Washington is a little interesting against a pitcher I don't like. You can also, Alcides Escobar's 3.4K leading off. I'd rather not go him. I think he'll get some ownership because of him batting leadoff. I think 4 through 7 is a little interesting and cheap if you are going to go the Ohtani and Garcia route. As far as Philly, the only price that really stands out is Andrew McCutcheon's only 4.2K. I think that's a little too cheap. I don't mind Bryce Harper at 5.9K. Joe Ross struggles with lefties, but I like Vlad more that we're going to get to and some other expensive bats. So 4 through 7 at Washington is my favorite stack in this game. They're too cheap.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree with that. Good price tags on most of those guys, obviously. Let's go to the next game, which should be the most popular from an offensive DFS standpoint on this slate. You got Toronto, you got Boston, and 11 total, 6 team total for Boston, and only 5 for Toronto, which is somewhat interesting. And I want to get Big T's take on this because we talk about this a lot, the implied, betting line versus the, the actual betting line. It just seems like a low number for Toronto after they just absolutely pounded this dude. When was that? Last week when they put up they had 11 hits and scored four runs. Oh, wait, no. So it was only 11 hits, but it was only 4 runs. So they didn't absolutely pound them. I just figured it would be a little bit higher on the Toronto side, but the total's big. People are going to be on this game. You're going to have to pay a premium for most of the guys in this offense. But, a couple of cheap guys that stand out. This Duran guy is only 3K. He's still going to be popular. Hunter Renfroe is only 3.3K. Kike Hernandez is 4.1K on DK. Boston will probably be more popular because they have the higher team total and some of the cheaper bats. But I kind of like Toronto to, put up a big number here, hoping their ownership stays in check. I doubt it, though. Big T thoughts here on this Toronto-Boston game.
Yeah, I think more of it's a great conversation you bring up about the implied because I think it's just more of the Boston just being in such a smash spot against Toronto than they just don't know where to set the line to where it ends up hurting the implied total for Toronto. But, man, it's a good spot all the way around. They pounded Pivetta. I think even – let me pull up the sample. 69 at-bats. I mean, yeah. They've hit him really good. I mean, 5 bombs at 69. They got 15 strikeouts. That doesn't even matter. They're hitting 360, bunch of 7 doubles. I mean, they just have seen him really good. Good spot for Toronto and great spot for Boston, too. I mean, I feel like Boston has been one of the most underrated teams of the whole season. They constantly rake. And even some of these other guys outside of our boy Christian Vasquez, who was it on one of the shows last week that Stevie, I think, on one of the premium shows said, basically, you just can't play this guy. And I took note of it. And people keep playing him in these good spots, and the dude just literally can't hit. So that's kind of the tidbits you get on the premium show with the baseball. Stevie gave more numbers. Again, I'm not the numbers guy. I'm not the best guy to go down this avenue with, but he brought up a compelling case. Like, I think he had like a 29 WRC plus and all this stuff where he keeps being in these good spots like tonight, and we always just throw the catcher in our stack. Don't do it just blindly. If a guy's a really bad play like Vasquez, make it a point to not play him, even in your Boston stacks. Don't just punt it away. Don't be lazy is what I'm saying. Just because it's the highest total, you don't have to play this catcher even if it fits. Find someone else because he's not a good play. He's been terrible. Do not play this dude. He freaking sucks. But, yeah, these teams are in great spots all the way down. I mean, even the bottom of the lineups, BGO, Grichuk. That's why I always like Toronto, why we all always like Toronto. You can play anyone. And the funny thing is, really the only guy I don't like on Toronto is the damn catcher. I never want to play this McGuire. I don't like him either. I've kind of sold myself this year, too, whenever I stack a big offense like Toronto, Boston, any of these bigger teams, to not fall in the trap of everyone else and just put the catcher in. I want 5 big bats when I stack these teams. So I'll probably stay away from the catcher in both spots here and maybe we find it like last week when Uncle T gave out the Will Smith one-off type play where maybe we find a catcher in another spot. Even a guy like Garver or something where we don't want to play all of Minnesota, but we play one guy or something as a one-off. But Yeah, both teams in a great spot. I'll definitely have a decent chunk of both of these teams. And for the most part, I mean, all in a really good spot. So, yeah. Springer back in the one hole, too. Is this the first game he's been in the one hole? I always like him in the one because of those bombs he leads the games with.
Yep.
He's always happened, and he's been pretty hot lately, too. I mean, double-digit fantasy points in 5 out of his last 6 games, it looks like. Maybe 6 out of the last 7. I mean, just he's been hitting the ball well. Title thoughts here on Toronto-Boston.
Yeah, definitely the best game. Boston had the highest implied total at 6. And they're really cheap, like you mentioned. Kiki Hernandez only 4.1K, Jarren Duran in the 2-hole 3K, Hunter Renfroe 3.3K, Verdugo 3.5K in the 6-hole. The 2 expensive ones are Rafael Devers and JD Martinez. And if you play all the cheap ones and still want to stack them, you're going to want to throw Devers and JD in your stacks, and you can afford it with other cheap bets. I mean, on Boston, and then we'll get to some other ones. So they're going to be the most popular on the slate. It's hard not to like them. Guys making his major league debut. They're just going to absolutely smash, I think. But you focus on more of the bottom of the order. I mean, I Verdugo 3.5K. That's definitely too cheap. Renfroe 3.3K. But yeah, the thing is, I mean, if you're not playing Vasquez, Chavis in the 9-hole 3.2K. I don't know, maybe Frankie Cordero 2.5K in the 8-hole. Yeah, so leave out Vasquez. Otherwise, it's pretty much this whole lineup you can play. And for Toronto, I like Toronto a lot. Their prices aren't too bad outside of Vlad, 6K. If you're going to stack Toronto, obviously you need to play Vlad. He's just too good. But Springer leading off 4.8K. Teoscar Hernandez 4.6K in the 5-hole. Grichuk 3.9K is too cheap. Gary L's only 3.7K. Biggio 3.5K. I really like this Toronto side. I think they're going to be the less popular side. You're in Fenway. You get the guaranteed 9th inning at bat. They've seen Pivetta 3 times already. This will be the 4th. They've hit him. He hasn't let up less than 4 earned runs in any of the 3 starts. Anytime a team has seen a pitcher this much and has had success, I think they see the ball well against them. So a really good offense, less ownership, guaranteed 9th inning at bats. I really like Toronto today.
One more spicer too. It's never the thing that we say you should just go fully with, but when you already like a game and it's that way, they got like the best hitting ump in baseball in this game too. So it just adds a little spice to the top of it.
And that matters. I am so tilted watching these games and these umps making the most egregious calls. Like the umps, more than ever, the umps really matter, I think, this year. And that's where Discord people talk about it. So that's a good point. Makes me like it even more because some of these balls and strikes they're calling is awful nowadays.
Change an entire game with like a 2-0 count, and it should have been a strike, and you make it a ball, and then it's 3-0. Like, it doesn't sound like much on the surface, but it changes the entire complexion. What if there's 2 guys on and they do that? And then all of a sudden you got to groove a couple balls. I mean, everything changes with just a few bad calls.
It did last week. Kenley Jansen, the Giants. It was 2-0 count, bases loaded, and a clear ball 3. They called it a strike, and then it would have been a guaranteed take. Ball 4, they would have put him up. Then he swung. It was 2-2. Eventually ended up walking him too. I mean, it was bad call again by a half swing that they called. But yeah, it changes the whole at bat. So that's a good point you brought up. I like it even more.
All right, go on to the next game. We got the Reds. We got the Cubs. 8.5 total, 4-team total for the Reds, 4.5 team total for the Cubs, and a game here that could potentially go overlooked. I mean, we don't have a ton of good pitchers on the slate. If you look at DraftKings, they have Hendricks as the 2nd most expensive pitcher on the slate. Team total for Reds only coming in right around 4. I have a feeling they're going to be a pretty low-owned team, and kind of like them here. Winker, Aquino, Big T read off some of the BVP stuff. Like they've had success against them. Votto, Suarez, Naquin. I have some interest in the Reds here tonight. And then on the Cubs side, Wade Miley has been pretty good. 2 really good starts back to back. But man, this Cubs lineup might be like one of the best that they could roll out in a matchup against a lefty. I don't know if Big T has seen who's batting 4th, but we might lose his pants mid-show here. If he sees the name, we got Mr. Matt Duffy, 2.5K batting 4th. Contreras at the top, Chris Bryant, Patrick Wisdom, David Bote, and then Marisnik is a guy that hits lefties pretty well too. So, I mean, this lineup here, I think could find some success tonight against Wade Miley. So I have a lot of interest in both sides of this game. Won't be playing either of these pitchers, obviously. Let's go to you first. Title thoughts here on this Reds Cubs game.
Well, I don't like it nearly as much as you, so I'll be a little shorter. I think Aquino's too cheap at 2.2K. If you need the salary relief, he's in the 3-hole too against Hendricks. He's definitely going to get some ownership. David Bodie, if you need it, he's 2.2K as well. We're going to get to some other spot. There's Eloy Jimenez. I don't know if he's in the lineup for if the White Sox release it, but he's too cheap, and I like him more when we get to that game. It's just a lower total with Boston being too cheap. The pitchers, if I go with Tony Marquez, I'll have some salary. So I'm not going to target this game too much. Aquino's the one that stands out the most for me. Tyler Naquin's 2.7K too. So I don't mind that price tag, but I'm not going to have too much of this game.
Big T, your boy Matt Duffy in the 4-hole. How excited are you?
The only cause for concern for me is, God, Wade Miley is another one of these dudes we talk about where he sucks, and I don't think he's good. But, man, I feel like he never gets shelled.
Yeah, that's true.
Same with Hendricks.
I mean, it is just – he's one – I don't feel like I've ever got the best of Wade Miley. Even if he does, like, give up a bomb, he'll settle down and he'll give up, like, 2 or 3 runs. Like, every game, you just don't ever see just a crazy output against him. But it is an interesting mini stack for me for the Cubs, just because we talked about catcher, where if you play these teams like Toronto and Boston and don't love it, man, Contreras looks tasty in that 1-hole, and he's seen Wade Miley good. I mean, he's 8 for 19 with 4 doubles against him. He's only struck out twice in 19 at-bats. That's a good number too. So I think he's a very interesting catcher play as a one-off or a mini stack. And the nice part about the mini stack is you can put Duffy in there for cheap. You can put Bodie in there for cheap. Marisnik's pretty cheap. You can go even up top if you got salary and play a good guy like Chris Bryant. I don't think I'm going to full stack either way in this game, but I do think the Cubs are very interesting 2 or 3 man stack to go with one of your main, even 4-man on FanDuel to go with your main stack. So I don't know. I like Duffy's price tag. I like Contreras a ton. I could play Contreras might end up being my guy where I just jam him in on all my teams because I wanted a good catcher. Looking around the slate, there's nothing else that sticks out even close to Contreras to me at catcher, which his price tag's up there, but I'm okay with that as a tournament player. I can play a cheap guy somewhere else to make up for catcher because I'll tell you what, right now, when everyone stacks Toronto and Boston tonight and both these catchers get you a donut and Contreras gets me 30 points, you're not going to be able to catch up. That's just the facts of the matter. And I'll take my chances.
Yeah, I do like that call. One thing to note here, I guess a couple things. The bettors got word of the hitters umpire in Toronto and Boston because that total has gone up a half a run, so it's sitting at 11.5 now. Was at 11, and then the total in Detroit and Minnesota up to 10 now. It was 9.5, so a little bit of line movement on these overs in some.
We got huge news in the NBA too. I mean, Eric Bledsoe is not expected to even stay with the team after that massive deal. It's just a buyout. Man, I can't believe it.
Grizzlies are smart. They don't want that dusty dude, but hey, Joe Val's better than.
How does that
now
affect?
it's literally just stiff for stiff.
Yeah,
Joe Val's better. Joe Val is better. Stop it.
Yeah, I mean, for fantasy, yes, but for like winning basketball games, like there's literally no difference between it. It's the same thing as Norman Powell. I mean, I've talked about it nonstop, and people are probably sick of hearing it. But Norman Powell, Gary Trent Jr. Oh my gosh, they got Norman Powell. It's the same fucking dude.
Norman Powell is better. He plays both. He plays defense.
If you really get down to the nuts and bolts of it, Norman Powell's probably a little bit of a better basketball player. Is that going to matter when it comes to winning basketball games? No. Steven Adams, Valanciunas. Yes, if you watch it and you play fantasy, Valanciunas is going to look like the better guy. Is it going to matter when it comes down to winning basketball games? Tony,
we play fantasy. The people on chat play fantasy. They like hearing it.
Yeah.
Neither of those teams are gonna.
They're not
neither of those
teams.
teams.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends how you look at it, but I mean, but Bledsoe not report. What is it? Just not. What's he retiring?
He's not gonna. I'm sure they're just buying him out. I don't know.
Yeah. God, imagine being a contender and saying, I want Eric Bledsoe on my roster.
No.
Tough scene. All right, let's go to that Tigers game, Tigers Twins. Like I said, the total's up to 10 now. 5.5 for the, it's about 5 3/4 for the Twins, and then almost 4.5 there for the Tigers. This is an interesting one because I think you can make the case for the pitchers. I mean, I don't like Pineda. I won't be playing him. I think people will. Matt Manning, like we talked about, may have improved his pitches a little bit, and he's been good in back-to-back starts. Well, I mean, 2 starts goes okay, but last start was solid. Twins are going to be a very popular offense, especially because that high team total, and they're always popular. The Tigers, I don't think many people will be on them. I think more people will be playing Pineda than stacking up the Tigers. From a tournament standpoint, I like the Tigers offense. Should be pretty low owned. And like I said, people will play the pitcher, so you kind of get the double leverage there. And then, the Twins offense has just hurt my feelings all season long. I don't know what to do at this point. Will I play them? Probably. Will I regret it at the end of the night? Most likely. Big T, thoughts here on this Tigers Twins game?
Yeah, I agree. And the Twins, man, they hurt my feelings like hoop. And it hurts me even more because, like I said to start the show, they just look good. I mean, even right now, I'm like trying to talk myself into playing them. I'm like, man, they're playing Matt Manning. I like this lineup, but they're just not. They just don't get it done. I just don't want to see them on the slate. Like, can we get weather in this game or something and just freaking rain it out so I don't even have to think about it? I'm not going to play it, but man, people are going to play it. The Twins will get ownership because people love implied totals. They got a big implied total with a pretty good matchup versus Detroit. I mean, Matt Manning in a bullpen that isn't going to like blow you away. People are going to play it. I'm just not going to be one of them. If they beat me, they beat me. I just can't keep playing this team over and over. On top of it, they're like trying to trade some pieces. You don't know. Donaldson could get traded early, or Polanco or Kepler, or basically any of these guys could get traded. So no, I don't think you can really fully trust these spots. I mean, they just don't care. They're in tank mode. So I'm going to be off it. I'm going to be more on the pitching side for the Manning. Like I said, I think maybe he's turned the corner. He was supposed to be good coming up. He struggled. Maybe he turned the corner the last couple starts. I'll take my chances against Minnesota with the ultimate leverage. I like Matt Manning more and more, especially when you factor in just that we want these big bats and I need a cheaper pitcher. It just gives me ultimate leverage, and I'm okay with Matt Manning at 5,800. I don't need much. We have this conversation every single week on this show, every day. What do you need from a guy like this? I mean, give me 14 fantasy points, 15 fantasy points tonight, and I'm ecstatic at this price to fit these big bats. Maybe even less. I mean, I'm not totally mad in double digits like we always say. So I'm more on that side. And I mean, people are going to play Pineda. I get it. I don't totally, just because pitching's so weak tonight, I get it. I mean, if you can play, even Matt Manning and Pineda go both ways, and maybe you just get a bunch of big bats in there, I can see that. I don't totally hate it. And this Tigers lineup, I do like it at the top, especially 1, 2, 4, 5. But I mean, 6, 7, 8, 9 is weak. I don't know. I'm okay with Pineda more than I think I was in the pitcher section. More so because of price too, though. 6,900 is very, very cheap on this slate where we want some of these bigger bats. So I guess I'm more on the pitching this game than the hitters for sure.
Before I throw out the title, 2 things. So good viewership numbers today, up over 600 likes, around 245. Not bad. Also, I think you guys can do better. Do us that favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe so you know when we go live with a new video. Also, coming up after us, the final countdown, breaking down the slate up to lock. I believe it's Holden, JSU, and DC. I'm pretty sure. Let me pull this up.
Holden's working on it damn Monday. Would we finally get him to work? Holden, you finally.
No, you're all right.
He's off again.
Holden is not with us. We have JSU, our boy, Mr. Modelo himself, G Rising with the up in smoke play of the day, and DC. So no Holden. It will not be there tonight. JSU, G Rising, and DC.
Man, you live good, Holden. Holden lives right somewhere. Where are you at, Holden?
Holden's living the dream. There's no doubt about that. Absolutely living the dream. Title, thoughts on this Tigers Twins game?
Yeah, starting with the Twins, I don't love them as much as some offenses. I think Boston, Toronto, clearly the top ones. So, like, I'm not going to play Jorge Polanco at 4.9K. Garver at 4.8K is fine, but I think I'd rather just punt the catcher and go Brera or something at Washington. The guys that do stand out, Max Kepler is way too cheap at 3.7K. He had a bomb yesterday. Trevor Larnach's 2.8K. Brent Roker's in the 2-hole 3.2K. Even Donaldson 4.7K. He's the one that I literally play more than probably anybody and does absolutely nothing. But I don't know. I'm not.
Always sucks, and he always just stares at you every time. I play him a ton too, and he just never gets it done.
Yeah,
FanDuel too.
The guy that always does treat me well is Max Kepler, and he's back to batting leadoff. Twins are doing it for it. Twins are getting it done tonight. Twins are putting up 10. Huh?
I'm not on Manning either.
Twins are putting up 10. I just thought about it.
Kepler, we've done this every time on the show too. Always by the end, we're like, tonight's the night. They're gonna get it done.
It is the night. You got I don't know who's Rooker. Is he any good? Probably not. But then you got my boy. I mean, Tony, our boy Polanco's in the 3-hole. Like, it's happening tonight. Garver's your catcher. Screw Contreras. Garver's gonna get it done for us.
Caveman's the one that always treats me good. The caveman.
Who?
The caveman down there in the
3K.
Twins are going to score 12 runs tonight, not 10, 12.
You heard it here first, folks. There we go. Who on the Twins? I don't mind the Twins. I'm going to leave off Polanco probably. 4.9K is a little much, but
if you play the Twins without Polanco, I'm driving to Milwaukee.
I'm not full stacking them.
I'll say this on the show to anyone watching. If you stack Minnesota without Polanco, then you should quit. Unread.
4.9. I would rather Boba Shutt's what 5.2K.
That's not the same. I'm saying if you stack Minnesota,
if you full all right.
Polanco, you should unread before the contest starts.
I'd rather play Larnach, Kepler, Roker, Donaldson, Garver. There's my 6. So, or even Cave. I don't know. I don't like that price tag, but sure, he's in the middle of the order. Full sack him, sure. But
look at his numbers: 20, 33, 37, 13, 18. What do you want from the guy? He's the only guy that's hit.
Who is that?
Polanco. He's sitting on Polanco.
I don't want 4.9K for him.
Price tag matter?
Don't matter.
Well, I mean, I'm paying up at pitcher. I like some of the. I like the cheaper ones more.
Shit on their only good dude.
He is not their only good dude. I mean,
God.
But Kepler at 3.7K is definitely going to be owned. Donaldson's going to be owned. I'm not going to full stack. I don't love him as much as Hoop does, but I'll get a couple of them. I think Detroit's interesting.
I didn't
love him. Hoop's going to love him until like 9:17 p.m. when they're still sitting on 0.
Yeah, well, I hated him up until like 3 minutes ago, and I just thought about it. Kepler treats me well. Polanco typically treats me well. I mean, they're batting first, third. It's going to happen tonight. Trust me. Ride with me, not against me. I'm telling you. Tonight's the night. Twins.
Another narrative I hate when chat people and Twitter people say it is when they post these random things like somebody just placed a $50,000 bet on the Rockies. And I just never believe any of that shit. And why does it matter anyways? You don't know who placed it. It could be a sharp dude, a dude that's a Rockies fan, a rich dude. Like how do you know anything to do with it? It doesn't matter at all.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't. It could be someone with a lot of money that just wants action that's going to the game. I don't know. Yeah.
How do you even know it's legit anyway? How do you know the book doesn't want you to think there's money coming in on the Rockies? And I just
I don't pay attention. I don't pay attention to literally any of that shit.
Unless I literally saw because there's tons of sharp people on Twitter. If they post like a ticket before the game of the actual, then I'll believe it. But like some random sportsbook manager telling me that somebody bet 50K,
yeah. People in chat are saying Roker's good too. I pulled up. He doesn't have he's only a 42 sample size at bats in 2020 and 2021, but he has 300 ISO. He looks kind of solid. So in the 2-hole, he's too cheap. Yeah, the Twins. What'd you say?
He had a bomb tonight.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, hoops all over the Twins. I don't mind them. Not as high. I'm not going to play Manning though. That I do.
I've been hating on the Twins for weeks, but tonight's the night.
It clicked.
But the one concern though, obviously, is the point that Tony brought up earlier, where they're trading away dudes and have nothing to play for. There's no incentive to win. That's the obvious drawback.
Yeah, and then on the Twins, on the Detroit side, I'm not going to play Pineda. I think he's going to get ownership. The more I do look at this Detroit lineup, I do agree with Big T. I mean, Badu leading off 3.2K he's going to be high owned too. I love that play. Outside of him, like Miguel Cabrera, 2.9K. He swung a better bat than I thought he has this year. That's cheap if you want to get Toronto, Detroit. I mean, 2.9K in the 3-hole. Harold Castro's 2.3K, second base and shortstop eligible. He's not very good at all, but two positions that you can punt with. Someone in chat, or Victor Reyes and Derek Hill, someone in chat was saying Derek Hill has a lot of speed in the 9-hole. Both those guys are min price at 2K. I mean, if you're in the 9-hole, you can get a stolen base for you right there at 2K. I like that. Jonathan Scope, I like him at 4.7K. Eric Haas at a bad catcher position in the 5-hole. I think Detroit's going to be sneaky. I don't think they get too much ownership out of it, except Badu. I don't like Pineda. I like Detroit a little bit, and you're guaranteed the 9th inning at bats on the road. I think they're a good cheap stack that you compare with a Toronto, Boston, something like that, and then still pay up at pitcher. So I like the game for hitting.
All right, next game we have the White Sox. We have the Royals, 9.5 total, 5 team total for the White Sox, 4.5 for the Royals. And this is one of those interesting spots. Mike Minor is going to get some ownership tonight because probably the lack of options at pitcher, and he has shown some upside in the past. For me personally, I'll be on the White Sox. I'll be stacking them in tournaments tonight. If you're MMEing, I think it's great to get over the field on the White Sox. And then on the Royals side, an offense that should be pretty low owned. I mean, you got to pay a pretty big price tag for most of these guys. Soler at 2.7, I think, is a good value play. Dozier at 3.1K is a good value play. But I really like the leverage spot here for the White Sox. I'm going to definitely be on them in tournaments, and I'm going to try to get some Royals too. I think this is a good offensive game here. Go to you first. Title thoughts here on this White Sox Royals game.
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting game for hitting, especially because Mike Minor is going to get some ownership. We don't have that lineup yet. No, we don't. Eloy Jimenez on the White Sox, he's expected to maybe be back in the lineup. He's 2.5K. He's a very good hitter, way too cheap. And if he's back, he's going to be somewhere at the top of the order. He would be one of the more expensive or more popular plays as well. Andrew Vaughn, he hits lefties really well, 2.6K. Jose Abreu, if you're going to stack them at 5.2K. I think they're interesting, the White Sox. I'm not going to go full stack them, I don't think. I see Minor like 30% ownership projected though. And if that's the case, a 5 implied total with a team that hits lefties really well, it's hard not to have some interest. Eloy Jimenez and Andrew Vaughn would be my 2 favorites. And then going to the KC side, Jorge Soler at 2.7K is probably the one that I have some interest in, but I don't love stacking against Dallas Keuchel, ground ball pitcher. We have a lot of other spots that we mentioned, so I won't have too much of KC, but Soler is too cheap down there.
Big T, talk to me here about this Royals White Sox game. Any interest in the White Sox leverage stack, knowing that Minor is gonna get some ownership tonight, and then any interest in the Royals?
Yeah, I mean, I like the White Sox too. Another team that I'd probably rather mini stack than full stack, just because I don't love the lineup. I never play Moncada against lefties. Eloy will definitely help if he's back in there, but I mean, guys like Billy Hamilton, I don't like as much from the right side. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to love Timmy Anderson. Engel's pretty cheap. Abreu, you can always play. So definitely more of a mini stack for me with the White Sox. I do like it. Can't wait to see what this lineup is. Maybe they throw some sort of surprise at us too and get some guy in towards the bottom that I'm not thinking of. So yeah, like that. And I don't usually play bats against Keuchel either. You could definitely, though, this is a shorter slate. I mean, 7 games. The Royals have hit the ball pretty good lately too. And you got some right-handed bats that just aren't going to get any ownership on here. So another mini stack type team where all of a sudden, say you play Dozier, Alberto, and Taylor, 6, 7, 8. You're guaranteed to get those three guys literally like 3% owned, 5% owned on a 7-game slate against a guy like Keuchel that's not any good. Always done it with Mears, though. Never really gets shelled too hard. But these guys have all hit lefties good in the past. And if you somehow bank a couple bombs from these three guys unowned, that's a difference maker in the tournament. So I think you can definitely go mini stack there. If I do stuff like that, I just don't ever play guys like Soler that have sucked all season. And I mean, God, he finally did get it going a little bit later.
He's getting hot.
Yeah. 2,700 looks tasty then. I was going to shit on him, pulled up his thing. I'll reverse course a little bit. I mean, I'll admit it. I mean, 31, 14, 16, 14. I didn't think I was going to see that in the last 8 games. So you can definitely put him in that mini stack bracket too. So 4, 6, 7, 8 would kind of be. I'm not going to pay 5,200 for Witt. I'm not going to pay for Sal more than likely. So it's just going to be a sneaky low-owned mini stack for me with a team like the Royals.
Got 2 more games left. We got our stacks, and then we got our plays of the day. Got about 600 watching, 284. Just get us over the 300 mark. We'll be happy, and we won't talk about the likes anymore. So how about that deal? 616 more, and I won't ask for any more likes. All right. Last 2 games, not great from an offensive standpoint. We got the Rockies, we got the Angels. Low total, 7.5. You know, we don't love a lot of pitchers tonight. These are 2 of them that we do, Marquez and Ohtani. I see no reason to go to this game for offense title. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, a lot of spots we do like in offense. We have cheap bats. These are the pitchers that I do like, so I'm not going to touch anyone.
Big T. You had talked about a little maybe some Rockies guys as you know deep tournament plays. You sticking with that?
Yeah, I mean, just on the surface, like I love pitchers in this game. These 2 are going to be 2 of my higher owned guys. Like I said, I'm a little lower on Ohtani just because of ownership, and I don't fully trust him as a pitcher. But I love Marquez. I think it'll be low scoring. But yeah, I mean, in tournaments, these are the spots you have to take a little bit of notice to. I mean, Ohtani, when it goes wrong for him, it goes very wrong. And he's so high owned that I just think you're doing it wrong as a tournament player if you don't at least consider a little mini Rocky stack, just full leverage against the Angels. Yeah, if Ohtani gets it going, they're not going to do much against them. The lineup sucks. They're on the road where they're way, way worse than at home. And everything points to them not doing anything, but it's baseball. Weird shit happens in baseball. And when you hit the weird outcome, you want to be able to ship a tournament. I probably won't have more than maybe 1 mini stack of the Rockies on my teams, but you never know. It could be the difference maker in a tournament. Same example I used last week, but all of a sudden when some of these early games start lower scoring than we thought, and the Boston game is 4-3 in the 9th, and these other games just haven't gone off, and all of a sudden you're sitting on a Rockies mini stack against Ohtani who's chalk. That's how you ship a tournament. And all of a sudden they don't need to score 12 runs. They score 6 runs with 3 bombs, and they walk a bunch, maybe steal a few bases, and you're in the winner's circle. So yeah, just know what you're doing, have a game plan. For the most part, though, definitely a pitching game for me.
All right, last game. We have the Astros and Mariners, 8.5 total. We got Garcia versus Darren McCracken. Luis Garcia is a pitcher obviously we have interest in. Good pitcher's park here. Really no interest in the Mariners bats for me, but I actually have a lot of interest in the Astros bats here. You know, it's the only standalone 10 p.m. Eastern game. Not many people will play the Astros. Ownership should be low. I really like the Astros in my tournament, so I will definitely have some Astros stacks for that reason. Big T, thoughts here on this Astros-Mariners game?
I'm not going to play any bats in this game. I just never play bats in this park, like literally ever. The Astros will be lower owned if you like them. Definitely can go there with these sticks. Seattle, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it feels like a few of those bullpen guys are pretty good towards the back. I know their back of the bullpen really is strong. The one dude, I can't even think of what his name is, the closer. But I don't know. I'm not going to play any Houston bats. It's the only late game on top of it. I like Luis Garcia a decent amount, but definitely no bats here for me.
I don't.
Yeah, I'm not going to have too much exposure. I mean, we don't have the lineup out yet. Diaz at shortstop, 2,100 if he's in the lineup. That's always an option if you want to full punt it. Michael Brantley, he's always cheap at 3.1K. He's more of a cash game play than he is a tournament play. His upside's pretty limited, but he's always too cheap, 3.1K. Kyle Tucker, that's more of a tournament play, 3.4K. He has the power, but I'm with Big T. I don't usually play bats in this park as well. So we like a lot of the other spots. Not a spot I'm going to have too much of.
So something always – this is just how my mind works. I never look at stuff until we're doing the shows and going through. Just looking through, something just popped off the page because all these like strikeout numbers from the pitchers, I'm just looking at last 30-day sample because that's kind of what I like in baseball. Who's hot? I don't need as long a sample as other people. Last 30 days, though, Luis Garcia, 35% K rate, which I don't have the entire slate up in front of me, but it's really high for the rest of the slate, like way above it. And you look at the Mariners for the last 30 days, striking out 27% of the time. The only two guys under 30%, under 24% are France and Crawford. You got guys 40%, 37, 32, 31, 29. I think Luis Garcia, he was already one of my favorites, but I was kind of in between. I think he's clearly my favorite guy after seeing these numbers.
Yeah, I think he's a phenomenal play. I mean, his ownership will be much higher on FanDuel than it is on DraftKings, relatively speaking. He's the most expensive guy on DraftKings. On FanDuel, he is the third most expensive guy. So,
how much is he on FanDuel?
10K flat. Yeah. Really strong play. I mean, I really like him over there. Otani's 11K, so $1,000 cheaper than Otani.
I definitely will not play Otani over Luis Garcia.
Yeah, I like that call. All right, let's get into some stacks. I mean, it's a smaller slate. We know the Blue Jays, Red Sox are going to be popular. Outside of them,
damn, we didn't get Eloy in the White Sox lineup.
Not in there.
Yeah, we did. There he is. I was looking at it wrong. In the 4 hole.
4.
Who's not in there? What am I missing? No, Moncada's in. Yeah.
I'm not seeing it. Okay. So for me, a stack that I have interest in that I think could be, somewhat low on is Astros. Late night game. Not many people will be on them. Not many people will wait for the lineup. So I kind of like the Astros. Title, just give me one stack that's, kind of off the radar here tonight.
I'm going to go Detroit. I think Washington, Detroit, if I have to do two, but I think Pineda gets little ownership, and I like this. Detroit's really cheap. You compare them with expensive ones.
Yeah, I like the Tigers too. Big T, give me a low owned stack that you're going to be on here tonight.
I don't know if I have a low owned stack. I'm going to take the fun out of it because, I mean, my low owned like mini stacks, I definitely am not going to go full stack on any of these lower. I mean, just looking at them, I don't see any that. I mean, Detroit would be the one, I guess, if I had to pick one. But I'm just going to pretty much hit this Toronto team, and then with some lower mini stack type things like the Cubs, like we talked about, Contreras and Duffy and Bodie and those guys. I guess give me the Cubs for my contrarian mini stack type team.
I like that. Their lineups, built well to have success against the left-handed pitcher tonight. So I like that call. All right, let's go ahead and get into the infamous plays of the day. We're going to go to our boy Title first with the SO play of the day. Who do you got for us?
Yeah, I mean, when Hoop says a team's going to put up 12 runs, I want some exposure to that team. Brent Roker's only 3.2K in the 2-hole. When I looked at his ISO, it looked good. Chat saying he's good. I like Brent Roker, so give me him as the SO play of the day.
His name can't be pronounced Roker or whatever.
What is it, Rooker? I honestly
like Rooker or something.
Rooker, yeah, that sounds.
If you're gonna have him as the SO, you got to figure it out. I mean, someone in chat, tell us how to pronounce his name. Is it Rooker?
How am I supposed to figure it out?
Chad will always tell us. Watch, Chad will have like the thing where they put the 3 letters in
the dashes.
However,
Rooker sounds right now that you say it. I honestly had no clue, and it sounded easiest.
It was close enough. I mean, it's got to be Rooker or something.
Rooker probably. That's my guess now that Big T. Of course, Big T knows how to say it. Pronunciation.
I played
man.
that dude a ton in the past.
Like last year, he has no clue how to pronounce it.
Someone said, yeah, Rooker. What he just spelled it normal. Rook. Yeah, so it looks like Rooker. It looks like
Rooker. I love that response.
Yeah, Rooker, the exact way it's spelled. Oh, that's great. All right. I'm up next with the Forex play of the day. And I've been getting better about picking guys that are going to be a little lower owned tonight. I don't care about ownership. Max Kepler's hitting us the bomb tonight. So whatever his ownership is, I don't give a shit. I'm playing him. Our boy Kepler and Rooker are going back to back to start the game. Bomb. Get us on the board. Get us started right. All right. And lastly, we're going to Big T with the official Monday night workbench play of the day. Who do you got for us?
Trying to dig deep here to find a good one for the people. If I didn't want to go full circle on the Minnesota, I would just own title with Polanco because it would be 1, 2, 3. But I just can't go with Minnesota.
Go for it.
As much as I want to own title with him, I just can't get in on the Minnesota train. I don't think. Maybe I need to for the boys, but who do I want? I mean, Duffy's too easy at 2,500. I don't like him. You know what? I'm going Franchy Cordero in the 8-hole for Boston. 2,500. He's cheap. Everyone thinks he sucks. He's going to be super low owned with the Boston stack. I need some salary savings to fit my boy Luis Garcia in there. Give me my boy Franchy Cordero.
Love that. Absolutely love that call. And, that's the way with a team like Boston. The guys that are going to be popular. You play 1 or 2 guys that are off the beaten path a little bit, like Cordero, you're making yourself unique immediately. So definitely like that call. As I said, we got final countdown coming up. Head on over to runpuresports.com to check that out. JSU, G Rising, DC, taking you up to lock. I believe that starts in about 10 minutes. So get on over there. Check it out. We're going to
I did miss the boat before we get off. God damn it. I should have gone Matt Manning right on your asses with my I'm circling back for the workbench. Matt Manning to go with him just to own these two.
Get out of here.
Workbench. Wow.
Against Hoops, 12 runs. He says 12 runs, and you said Manning.
We'll see. Hey,
hurtful.
I like it, Dan. Are we? Who's on tomorrow? Are we on here tomorrow? Us 3?
I'm not. I'm on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's see. I got it up here. We got tomorrow is me, Big T, and Mangone. Title might have to hop on though at the beginning. Someone's getting served here. I mean, it's either me and Title getting served or Big T's getting served. There's no way we all come out of this feeling good. So Title's going to hop on right out of the gate, and we'll talk about it. All right, that'll do it though for Title, for Big T. I'm Hoop. Good luck tonight in your contest. We'll be back tomorrow.
Good luck, everybody.